My business values when I'm working with companies, I've kind of fairly well sort of established now over a period of time, and there are 3 or 4. First of all, whatever we do should be based on the needs of the business, not on the latest management fad. There's been too many management fads, and I think people in organisations have become rightly cynical about them. You know, here's the latest whizzo idea, and it comes and goes, and then next week we've got another one. And they don't work, and basically, so I think we should avoid those kind of things and look at what does this business need right now, number 1 that is. Number 2, there are no magic formula for success. I wish there were. I mean, I quite like living in Bowtree, I prefer Hawaii, so if there was a magic formula I'd have used it to get me to Hawaii by now, so there's no magic formula. Thirdly, this is an unusual one for a consultant. I actually believe and find that the wisdom to make the organisation work resides within the management group, within the people in the organisation. It's always seemed to me extremely arrogant for somebody who can think, coming in from outside, who can think they can tell people how to run a business. How arrogant and how damn stupid. And it doesn't work. Yeah? So basically my belief is, and I find consistently, that the wisdom is within. And my role, which I guess is the 4th principle, is to help them to find the wisdom and to facilitate it, to identify it and get them doing it. Then they own it, they believe it, and they can make it happen. Much more effective. What I seem to excel at is helping organisations to change and do things that achieve their objectives, where sometimes I've struggled in the past perhaps. And the way I do that is to bring different perspectives. And the key issue I think is not what, if you ask people what do you need, if they can tell you, they're probably working on it. The issue is what they don't know. Now to find out what they don't know, you need to have different ways of doing that. And it's in what they don't know, which you can help reveal to them, that's where the real kind of pluses are, that's where they can get the real business development gains. And that's what I do. The way that I add value to clients' businesses is I'm normally called in when they've got a problem or they've got some issue they need resolving. And what we normally do right at the start is to try and put some numbers to that. So is this project, is it a £1 million project? If we can sort it out, it's going to be worth 10 million to you. So we always do the economics up front, which means that A, they take it more seriously, and B, they can see the value, the added value. So we're always trying to quantify in terms of the programs that I get involved in and the projects I get involved in, trying to quantify that. For 2 reasons. 1, it helps them take it seriously, and B, it kind of, it gives it a sort of a credibility within the organisation. So if we know we're working on a £10 million business improvement, then people are going to get behind that and when we make that £10 million improvement, people know that obviously I've been involved in that process, so they can actually put a number to it. The type of organisations that seem to benefit most are those that maybe have tried to do things themselves, maybe tried to change but found it for whatever reason difficult. Maybe there's a shadow side in the organisation, maybe for whatever reason there's a power culture and in that you can't make the change happen. And so it's where I usually get called in where they've maybe tried to do things and maybe for whatever reason struggled, but need some support, some help, some facilitation, some fresh thinking, some new ideas. I think that's what I bring to the party. I think the greatest achievements over the last 10 years that I wanted to work in larger businesses, at the top of large businesses, multinational businesses, and I kind of dreamed of doing that. And in the last, 10 years, I've achieved that. And I think that's been my greatest achievement, being taken seriously, being invited into some of the UK, Australia, and Americans' best businesses. And that gives me the greatest satisfaction. I think, overall, I'll put that down as my greatest achievement. I'd like to be remembered as somebody who made a contribution to entrepreneurship. I don't think we've taken it seriously in this country for a long while, and I'm on the side of entrepreneurs, and I want to put them on pedestals, and I think they're fantastic because they create so much wealth and value and jobs. And so I'd like to be remembered as somebody who's been on their side and actually made a contribution to entrepreneurship and helped some companies that were in difficulties to survive, and other businesses and entrepreneurs who've got aspirations to realise them. The reasons that people should hire me as a consultant are basically I produce results for people, and when I go into organisations and when we set up a project, if we don't achieve those objectives, I tell them right up front, look, if we don't do what we say you're going to do, don't pay me. Now that's unusual for consultants, but that's been my take on it ever since I started. And I have to say, up to now, touch wood, I've never not been paid.